Hey everybody, Alex here, and welcome to another exciting episode of Video Games Gaiden. Once again, I am joined by my forever co-host, EmperorFoxx. Fox, it's been a while. What's going on?
Not a whole lot. Crazy weather over here in Colorado, and I hear you got the extreme heat over there.
Yeah, I mean, look at this haircut. I mean, has anybody ever seen my hair this short? I haven't even seen my hair this short. Like, this is one of those things where I'm like, you know what? We're just gonna rock with it. It's gonna come. The mullet will be back before we know it. So, but besides the weather, what's going on with you? I mean, I know we talk every once in a while, but in terms of games and all that stuff, like what's doing?
Switch 2 came out recently, so I picked up one of those and have been playing Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma and really surprisingly enjoying that one. Other than that, I haven't been playing a whole lot. Vacations and such has been the time sink for this early summer.
Vacations? Have you? I mean, I know you said the fam went somewhere. Did you go with them anywhere, or did you have to come back early?
Nope, I got the pleasure of working.
Oh,
So
the
by
best.
vacations, all my employees, my shift workers, went on vacation. So I get to cover for them. So I got to work like 60, 70-hour weeks for a couple weeks, while my family got to enjoy Louisiana and the Florida Panhandle.
The things we do, the things we do.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Katie's gonna be off for school, and I think 4 or 5 days at this point, which means my at home office, aka the bedroom, now becomes the dining room for like the next 2.5 months, meaning no dinners can take place because I literally have to move two monitors and a laptop and all this other stuff. But it's what you got to do, right? But so if you got stuck covering for everybody, when do you take your vacation?
When I can. I just got off one. I took the family over to a resort here in Colorado Springs called the Broadmoor.
Mm-hmm.
It's a five-star resort nestled right next to Cheyenne Mountain. Gorgeous. One of the most beautiful places you can ever visit. So treated the family to that. We swam in the pools, uh, took the paddle boats on the lake. They were setting up for the Senior Open for golfing there too. So guess what? They said no extra guests, only if you're staying at the hotel. So it was kind of empty, which was fantastic.
Oh, that's the
Uh,
best.
yeah. So we had a good time there, and then I have some trips planned here shortly in July. I'm gonna go visit my father in Biloxi, and then me and the boys, the local boys, are gonna go camping in the mountains up at Arapahoe National Forest.
Yeah, we don't have anything planned at all. I would
That's okay.
love to escape to New Orleans for like 3 or 4 days, but as much as I love New Orleans, one thing New Orleans does not have is any form of game hunting at all.
You have to go to neighboring cities. You have to go to like Gulfport, Biloxi,
not
or
to
the smaller towns.
not to sound funny, but I do think Hurricane Sandy wiped all the not Sandy, Katrina wiped it all out. That's what I really think happened because I went the first time I went was for a work event, and it was after that, and I was just like, wow, there's like nothing here, but there was tons of stuff. You know what I mean? Just like the old French Quarter buildings. You know, they're used to flooding at this point. I mean, even the last time I went with Katie, there was a huge torrential downpour, and the streets, like, the cars were driving through it like nothing happened. Like, they're like, this happens from time to time. And I'm
That's
like,
what you get for building your city under sea level.
yeah, but man, such a fun spot. Such a fun spot. And
It is beautiful.
all right, so what about YouTube? What have you been up to with that lately?
Slacking.
I think we all have.
uh, I keep putting up shorts because, that's cake. That's easy. And people seem to really like watching the Game Boy shorts, especially the Game Boy ones that I put on the Super Game Boy. People watch those like crazy, so and they're easy to make. So I've been doing those. I did a pickups video. I need to do another one. I need to talk about my impressions of the Switch 2 because I got a few of their items, the Switch 2 Pro controller, and played some Mario Kart and stuff like that. But other than that, I've just been slacking.
You know what the best Switch 2 game is?
Is it a Switch 1 game?
Absolutely yes. That is literally all I've been doing is popping in Switch 1 games going, OMG, this plays so much better. I mean, briefly here, because I'm not going to mention my pickup video when I eventually do shoot it. I like it for what it's worth. I think, is it like a revolutionary thing? No, but I don't think that was the point, you know? Uh, I don't think it's technically an iterative thing. I think it is its own entity, but it's not like, a PS6, quote unquote. You know what I mean? It's like it's just trying to bring it up to parity a little bit, but
Yeah, I think it's fantastic personally. I like the build quality; seems much better.
mm-hmm.
Uh, the screen, everybody called called foul because there's no OLED, but I was like, this is a good LCD screen. It's like the
it,
Portals. The Portal screen is fantastic. It's not OLED, but who cares?
it is a good LCD, but I kind of miss the OLED because I forgot which game it was. I think it was Disgaea 6. I wanted to compare the frame rate. No, it was Bakuro actually. I wanted to compare the frame rate before like my feed got flooded with all these it plays better on Switch 2 videos. And I had it up and I was like, "Oh man, the colors look so much better over here, but it's the fluidity, man. You can't beat like I do think the fluidity actually helps it visually because it's not, clunking along as it were, but
Right. And I played some Cyberpunk on it,
how is it?
and I was impressed. It holds its frame rates quite well. It's not going to load all the textures and stuff in the far backgrounds as much, and some objects have been removed to maintain a steady frame rate. But it plays surprisingly well. I was very shocked.
How's my boyfriend Keanu Reeves look?
He looks like Keanu. Sounds like Keanu.
It is Keanu. I played that on PC like around release, and truthfully, I got really sick of all the open world stuff. But the story with Keanu, who I can't, what was his name? Johnny Silver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Like he knocks. He's Keanu first off. He knocks out of the park. But I'm actually waiting for a time when I have some downtime because I want to get the Phantom Liberty with Idris Elba, and I want to go through the whole thing again at that point because it's a completely different game from when I played it. So
Absolutely. It'd probably be worth maybe you want to try it on the Switch. I don't know. It's probably be cheaper on PlayStation though.
nah, PC. It's first
I
person.
don't know. PC.
I need this. I need this thing. You know.
But the Switch 2 does have that thing, and it works on Cyberpunk.
And it also works with Kinitsukami, and I'll be honest with you, Kinitsukami plays better with a controller.
Yeah.
That game
Even
is
has the
that game is
aim
a hidden
shooting
gem.
too.
That game is a hidden gem. You really have to check it out. I was very very surprised with how much I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna check it out for sure.
And the story is really easy to follow. It's like bad shit, go clean it up, and that's literally it. No dialogue. It's just cutscenes, and you kind of interpret it as you go. It's really cool.
Wow, that's cool. I'm looking forward to giving it a shot.
All right. So I do have another three random questions for you before we get into our topic of the day.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So first up, we're halfway through the year. If I had to ask you, which I am going to ask you, your game of the year up until now, what is it and what is the worst game you've played this year so far?
Man, I'm gonna consult my list. It's easy for the game of the year. Um, and it shouldn't be a shocker, but it's Expedition 33. Um, that game just checked all the boxes, every single box. Beautiful, good to look at, fantastic soundtrack, gameplay's phenomenal, storytelling's great, character development's great. Wonderful, wonderful game. It deserves all the praise that it's getting. I don't think people aren't overhyping it. I could tell you that. As far as the most disappointing games that I played this year, does Wario Land count?
It does. It does. I'll be honest. I was a little disappointed with that one too.
I'd have to be between Wario Land and I also played Monster Prom XXL on the Switch. A weird little, like, kind of like a dating sim, but you're all monsters in this high school. And it's got good writing. It's kind of funny. The characters are pretty well, thought out and stuff, but it was pretty much a miss.
Sounds like some hipster nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, for me, it's too early to tell, but Kunitsukami for me is definitely up there. But I haven't played Expedition yet. I keep thinking I have to, but then other stuff happens. Um,
Yeah.
but pretty much I have to stay out of one of the Discord channels we're in because all you do is talk about it. And I'm like, if I figure out how to break this battle system ahead of time, it's going to completely ruin it for me. Because
It
I,
could.
cause I finally broke it in the game I'm playing right now, which is Tales of Hearts. So now the game
Ooh,
is
good.
fun.
I like that one. Um, I could promise you, you probably won't be able to break the game until you're in game.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at it. It's all about a min max thing.
It is, and this is gonna be singing a sweet song to you with the way you can min max stuff. It's so good. I mean, even if freaking Leo can enjoy another turn based game once again, that I think that speaks volumes.
This is true, Leo. If you're watching or listening to this, yeah, man, you're a hard critic. You gotta calm down. You gotta sit down. All right. Next random question, and this one is not a doozy, but it is a doozy, but it's also not quite a doozy. All right. So we've been seeing a bunch of hubbub in the gaming industry as of late, right? There's been a bunch of layoffs. There's been a bunch of, talk about all digital future and key cards and all this, that, and the third, right? Everybody's on edge. Everybody's upset. You are given an infinite amount of money to make a new console, a new studio, or a new format to be used for games in terms of media, cartridge, disc, UMD, what have you. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And what would be your lead up flagship game?
It is a doozy. All right, so what were the choices again between what I could pick?
You could make a new console, you could found a new
Console.
studio, or you could create a new gaming medium for a console. Like if you don't
Okay.
actually want to handle all that stuff, we could just say for some reason it works on Switch, you know?
Okay, that's fair. The way I'm thinking, just because of what's going on in the industry between the fight of digital and non-digital, I'm thinking a new media would be best for the overall audience. If you can make a good media that's cheap, lots of space, nobody will call foul about what. Oh, well, the storage options are too expensive. Blu-rays cost too much. They don't. The Nintendo Switch carts cost too much. If it's super cheap, there should not really be any excuse anymore not to put full games on cartridges or discs, and that should make everybody happy. Sure, the digital title will be available for those who don't want to deal with media. That's fine, I get it. But now, for all the people who like to collect or just like to physically own their software, it'll be available. A
But what
game.
would it be though?
Oh, what would the media be?
Yeah.
I mean, why can't it be like something? It's going to be something small. The Switch cartridge is kind of where it's at, because flash media is just cheap. You can put a ton of storage on it. So something like a micro SD card would probably fit the bill. And then your cartridge slots will be super small on whatever system you use. Obviously, the little artwork on it will be super tiny. But yeah, that's got to be the cheapest way. But I don't know. Maybe optical. This is a hard choice. I'm completely out of my realm here.
That's exactly why I asked it. Like, I know what my answer would be. I would say bring back the Hue card, but put in a chip like we have on bank cards and stuff right now.
Hell yeah, that's a good choice. See, Hue cards, because plenty of space in the Hue card for today's flash storage. Plus, you got some room up at the top. Put some game art, game title on there. And then they can put them in nice slender cases. Perfect.
You could put them in a trading card thing. You could walk around with it. You
There
could
you
be like,
go. Sell
behold
some
my
fancy.
video game collection.
Open your binder full of video games.
Next to
Like
your
people used to
blue
put the
eye,
Game Boy cards.
next to your Blue Eyes White Dragon.
There you go.
What about a console? Would you do a console? Or would you say, never mind?
No, I don't think I'd touch a console one bit. I think it's too. There's too many out there. I mean, you got to applaud somebody like Evercade, who
Yeah.
kind of have their own console, but what they're doing is just releasing old stuff on physical cartridges or indie titles, which is great and it works. I just don't think there's room for a fourth major system to be competitive. I mean, Microsoft is pretty much going PC. Their next system, they said, is it's a PC.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's always to me. It's always been. I mean, the Xbox has been my rental machine. You know,
Yeah.
at least with the series stuff. The 360, different story, of course. But
I mean, it'll be nice to have like Steam as an option on there now.
yeah.
So that'll look great.
And what about a game or a game studio? Would you bother with that, or too risky?
Too risky. Game develop is definitely not something I ever thought would be fun.
Same here. Although we all are experts at it with no training whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, last one. And now this isn't really a question. We're going to do a little word association here. I'm going to say a bunch of things, and you're going to say the first thing that comes to your mind. All right. You ready?
Ready.
Ice cream.
Cone.
Chocolate.
Ice cream.
Bees.
Hive.
Metal Gear.
Solid.
John Cena.
Can't see me?
Well, if you're not on camera, nobody's going to see you do the thing.
No, they're not going to see me wave my hand in front of my face.
Count Dracula. First thing.
Castlevania.
All right, tube television.
CRT.
Model T Ford.
First production car.
Duck.
Goose.
Hey, I bet.
Baseball.
All right, there you go. That was all just so I could just go, hey, I bet, for no reason. So there, I got it in twice. All right, cool. So let's get into the topic today. And this is kind of like a loaded one that I kind of thought would be a cool one. Going around, the trademark line of hidden gems, right? Do they still exist, given the fact that we old head YouTubers have been on here since the glorious days of the YouTube gaming community, back when a hidden gem video was niche, it was new, it wasn't something to discuss, it was something where you actually discovered something new. But even tying it back to the game du jour, I thought it would be cute 4 months ago or whenever the heck it was we decided we were playing this, that it should be something that would be a pickup you and I had at one of the shows we've been to. Because let's be honest, how often during those 2 visits to Midwest Gaming Classic did we go back and forth with each other like, oh, did you hear about this game? And you're like, oh, no, I never did.
Mm-hmm.
So I would argue that when you're when you're at a game convention, when you're game hunting, you do it with somebody else, yeah, you can still find a hidden gem. I think that is 100% factually true. People may argue with me, and there are a lot of times, I mean, speaking for myself, where I do go game hunting, and, you know, even like this last show, you know, there wasn't really anything wacky I was looking to pick up, except for the one thing you found for me, which we didn't see at the Midwest Gaming Classic. But
yes.
But what do you think about that? Because you also went to a show by yourself, so I want to know like how that works with you finding something where you're like, ooh, I don't know what this is.
It's not as fun because having somebody with you, you find this interesting looking title for a game or the artwork pretty cool. It's not fun to just sit there and be like, that looks cool, you know, to yourself. And you're like, I don't know. But if I had like you over here, the table next to me, I go, yo, Alex, what do you think of this? There's a chance you might know what the hell that is. And say, dude, that's dog shit. Or, dude, you should pick that up. You know?
Which I think actually happened a few times.
Absolutely. And so just knowing that it's almost paramount nowadays that I find game hunting is 100 times more fun with somebody else. Particularly with somebody who actually knows gaming. I mean, I'll take my wife sometimes. She'll go into a store with me, but she doesn't know what the hell she's looking at. She's like, look at all this nerd shit, you know? She doesn't know. She's just there with me. But if I go with somebody who knows games, especially retro games, it's 100 times more enjoyable because I can talk with that person. We could share what we know. You could point out things. Hey, have you played that? No, I have not. What is that game? You know, we could talk about it. So going hunting with friends absolutely allows for your own self-discovery of in quotations, a hidden gem. Because that person can say, hey, have you ever played that? It's great. Be like, I had no idea what this was. Okay, let's give it a shot.
But what about, I mean, this is kind of loaded. It's like, let's say I point something out and I go, dude, you have to check this game out. And I say, I hate to say it, it's a hidden gem. Do you find that term to be kind of derogatory at this point? Like how some people are like, oh, it's a walking simulator. And they're like, you know, and they drop it and they set it on fire.
No, I don't feel that way. I think hidden gem is a good way to describe a game to somebody who obviously isn't well versed in that game or that genre, for instance. So what could be a hidden gem to one group of people may not be to another group of people, but that's okay.
So let me phrase it to you this way then, right? So let's say you point out, obviously you like roguelike deck builders. Like I know that for a fact. I like them too. That being said, there are a bunch of stinkers in there. Whereas some people, where some developers think if we just put more mechanics on top, it'll be even better. So to that end too, sometimes the RNG reaches the point where I would say, you may say, oh, it's a hidden gem. I play it and the RNG just does not like me ever. And it is frustrating to no end. And, you know, you take out like that influencing part, you know, to your point, you may say, to me, I'd say, no, this game is horrible. But I would also wonder if it's one of those things where a vast majority of people say a game is a diamond in the rough or a hidden gem, and you're the odd duck that doesn't like it. Is it technically hidden then? Or is it more of like it's just a sleeper hit or a fan favorite? Like, I have talked to a bunch of people who have played Folklore, and absolutely hate it. And I am like, I guess I'm one of two people who liked it, you know? So a lot of people found it flat. Luckily, every person I've recommended Binary Domain to has loved it. But I don't even think that's a hidden gem at this point. I think it's just like a game nobody played.
Yeah, it's known, but people just are like, okay, I hear it's good. But there was like a lack of interest to play it, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. The hidden gem is, I think, perfectly fine. But you're right. There's certain things to describe things. Like for instance, what you said, like folklore. I think plenty of people know about it. One of the first RPGs on PS3, right? So a lot of people said it was dog shit, but there are a group of people who enjoy it. I've met plenty of people who've enjoyed it. So I guess I don't think you could describe that as a hidden gem. I think you'd have to describe it as something else. And I'm not sure what term to use it. Saying like not well liked, but loved by some. I don't know.
I kind of like to think of it like from a movie perspective, right? Some movies come out in the theater, and now the next day they come out streaming. But back in the day, a movie would come out in the theater, and then you would wait 6, 7, 8 months, and then you would see the advertisements to get on VHS, right? And if
Mm-hmm.
a movie did not do well, it would show up on VHS a lot quicker because they had to make their money back, right? Because the
Sure.
tail of having it in the theater, it just didn't last, right?
Right.
So, and I'll use a very good example. Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger. A lot of people hate it. But I can't tell you how many of my friends, myself included, will quote that movie because when it came out on VHS and it was at Blockbuster, we watched it over and over and over. And now they do Criterion versions and Blu-ray versions and anniversary versions with commentary. The movie is not good, but it's entertaining.
So would you call it a cult classic?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to get at. Half of these hidden gems, like a folklore, for instance, I think it's a cult classic, not a hidden gem.
That I like that. I like that. See, we need to differentiate between these different things because a hidden gem is a hidden gem. That's something not a lot of people have played, but is good to a mass majority of its audience. Cult classic is a lot of people know about that game. A lot of people hate it. Some people love it.
So, like, what's a game you've played in your collection that you consider to be a cult classic?
Oh boy, that's a tough question. I'm gonna have to think here. Something that I loved. Well, sometimes I'm a sucker for those light dating sim games. I've played a bunch of them. I think they're funny, especially if they're well written. One that is absolute dog shit, but I enjoyed and played through many times is Brooktown High
Never heard of it.
on the PSP. And when I go back to
Digital
play it,
or is it physical?
it's physical.
In the
It's cheap as
US?
shit. Yes, Brooktown High. It's
Seeing it here
cheap.
for seeing this live hidden gem, right?
I'm pretty sure a lot of people won't think it's a hidden gem. It's
I don't
just
know.
a dating simulator. That's it. In high school, and you date different types of girls and guys and shit like that in high school. It's just for those fanboys who want to go back to their high school days who didn't achieve much, I guess.
Isn't that like everybody? Personally, I'd love
I
to go back to
mean,
sophomore year of college, but that's just me. Um,
yeah, I get that.
all right, yeah. So how about this then? What is a game in your collection that you consider to be a cult classic then?
Uh, ooh, that's tough. I don't know if I can answer that. I'd have to really think about that and look at the video game wall, to be honest with you. I think we're gonna have to move on. I'm gonna put this on the side of my head, and if I come back, I'm gonna start thinking here a little bit because that's a tough question. What about you?
So cult classic for me, I mean, honestly, this one's kind of easy. It's the Last Remnant because, for all intents and purposes, if you ask me, that should have been a Final Fantasy. But because of the way the battle system, because let's be honest, every Final Fantasy, we have to redo the battle system again. Because, everybody just says, give me a job system. And they say, but this time we have, and I love the last one. I love 15 and I love 16 rather. But, they're like, we got the DMC guy doing it. And it's like, but we want a job system. But we got the DMC guy doing it. And there is a job system. It's like, no, it's just different attacks, right? But the Last Remnant gave you like these massive army battles that were self-contained. But the battle system itself, it really didn't encourage you to grind. It didn't want you to grind. And halfway through it, there is a skill check where if you're not at the appropriate level, you literally cannot progress. But the game also doesn't let you grind. Exactly.
Okay.
So kind of like Fire Emblem, if enough people die in the old school Fire Emblem, moving up to where you are, eventually you just have to, you have to reset the game because you can't progress anymore. You literally have nothing. And that is literally the halfway point through the game. So very few people, a lot of people dropped it. But if you're able to nickel and dime your way through it like I was, through a battle of attrition, man, that game is so good.
Is it? It's been on my list to play. So, yeah.
Definitely, it's remastered on the PS5. Play that way. Don't play it on the 360.
Is it really?
I have it on Steam, but that's been delisted as of a long time ago.
Okay, I'm gonna need to add this.
But it's a gorgeous game. It's absolute. The voice acting is, par for the course for the time. It's bad, but the game is gorgeous.
Yeah. I'm excited. By the way, I thought of something.
What you got?
And I'm thinking this will ring true. Might and Magic Clash of Heroes.
Ooh, that is a good one. I
so
know the
good,
game. That
surprisingly. So different in what to play. People are like, it's Might and Magic. And they didn't expect almost a puzzle-like RPG. So I thought it was fantastic. I replayed it when they redid it on HD, which I was totally surprised they were going to do an HD remaster of it. I was like, really? Okay. I'm excited.
Whatever you say, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Last Remnant.
But in terms of like hidden gems that I have in my collection, ones I actually consider a hidden gem, I mean Monster Tale. But that's been publicized and talked about how many times, right?
Mm-hmm.
So could it technically be considered a hidden gem anymore? I really don't think so. I think it's just like an internet legend. But a game like Time Hollow, which is a visual novel game, which nobody's talked about that since the Games Award days. I would argue like it has become a hidden gem again because everybody who played it just doesn't talk about it anymore, myself included. Because I played it back in like 2011, and I've played I don't know how many visual novels since then,
Mm-hmm.
But that also brings up another question, right? So Time Hollow, if I recall correctly, it was put out by Axis or Konami. It's one or the other. Do you think a big publisher with their logo on it is technically allowed to produce a hidden gem, or do you think that somehow pushes it into the cult classic status?
It's probably going to go into cult classic status.
Why is that?
If the publisher is well known, then everybody knows every title that's coming out. It's going to be talked about. Hey, this is coming out from these guys, stuff like that. So it's either ignored because it's not the genre that some people want to play, or they tried it and thought it was dog shit because it wasn't what they wanted to play. And then there'll be the select few people who are like, dang, this was good. I liked this a lot. So I'd prefer, cult classic on those. For instance, Square Enix released a little interesting RPG called Voice of Cards.
It's a good
what was
game.
that, like 5, 6 years ago? I don't think much people played it at all, and I don't think it ever got a physical release.
Nope. I played the
But
first one.
it,
I absolutely loved it.
I love the first one. I never got around to playing the second one. I would like to, but that seems more like cult classic. Because I don't. Would you say that's a hidden gem?
Given the fact that it's Yoko Taro, no. I think it goes into the cult status because it's like a Tarantino movie, right? Everybody's going to see it, but how many people actually see Tarantino films because they're Tarantino fans and enjoy like all the nuances and everything else? Or are they just seeing it because it's the new Tarantino movie?
Yeah, I agree.
Kind of like how with some movies they know it's going to be, the producers already know it's going to be bad, but if we put a big name on it, they will get the draw because of that
Yep.
name, right? Kind of like the idea of like from the guys who brought you The Last of Us. And it's like, no, it's the guy who literally just did the logo. It's like it has nothing to do with the game, but it's
Yep.
marketing, right? So let me flip it on this angle then, right? So in the JRPG community on YouTube specifically, again, this is like a little pocket. Everybody talks about Harvestella. Now I know you like your farming games, right? I personally have not played it. I know a few people in our Discord, FemTrooper, I believe, has played it, and they've all loved it. And that got as much marketing as Square was willing to give it, which was absolutely nothing. They gave Paranormasight more marketing than Harvestella. Do you think that is technically a hidden gem then? If like it's one of those things where only a handful of people actually played it, despite it coming from a Square Enix?
Tough choice. I'm gonna say yes, but I think there's plenty of people who were turned off by it because they immediately thought, "Oh, this is just a farming sim." I know there's plenty of people out there who are not into farming sims. Oh, Stardew Valley, I don't care. Don't want to try it. Too much farming. So I wonder if that was kind of a turnoff for some folks. But I agree, it wasn't marketed at all. I mean, it was on my radar because we watch plenty of YouTube guys that talk, this month's releases and all this other crap. So, they all aggregate everything together for us. We watch it and be like, oh, what the hell is that? Harvestella, huh? Let me look into that. You type it in. Ooh, this sounds freaking great. I want this game. Or somebody's like, farming sim, I'm out.
So that goes, but that also goes against what you said earlier, where it's like, but Square Enix, so technically it's a cult classic. It can't be a hidden gem, right?
Yeah, this is. we need to define definitions, I think.
Yeah. So, but here I'm going to give you an argument now, right? To your point, it's all the algorithm feeds us, and we digest all this information as a very small community within YouTube gaming. The larger mass, you know, my wife, for instance, who only plays games I hold up and go, "You'll like this." If I held up Harvestella to her and she played through it and liked it, it would have been like a hidden gem. She'd be like, "How'd you find out about this?" I'm like, "I don't know. Everybody talked about it for 2 months." And that's the end of the story, right?
Yeah.
Um, she recently just played AI the Somnium Files. She went through the whole thing. She got the true ending. One of my favorite games from the 999 dude. I love his writing. She finished it. At the end, I was so stoked, so excited because this was like one of his last big ditch efforts. I was like, "What'd you think?" She goes, "I didn't like it." I was like, What?" She's like, "Yeah, I didn't like it." But she made a good point. Alex, this is too anime for me. So,
See?
and that's where I say
Turnoffs.
and that's where I say sometimes, even though something is classified as a hidden gem, if you're trying to get somebody individual novels, I would say AI Somnium Files is a good place to start. But if the person is not into anime or the cliches or the tropes or the boob jokes or any of that stuff, you may inadvertently be turning them off, right? So, to your point, if all these JRPG videos and YouTubers I follow are talking about Harvestella, and they go, oh, it's a farming sim plus RPG, I'm going to turn myself off because I don't like farming sims. But then if you actually give yourself the time and you realize, oh, no, wait a minute, this is marketing speak, it's actually RPG then farming, maybe I would like it, right? So, how many hidden gems or cult classics have you bought that you actually played?
A few. You already mentioned this earlier, but Monster Tale was one of them. I think I saw that a YouTuber was talking about it. Picked it up, absolutely loved it. Uh, I'd say I played quite a few now that I think about it because I'm not afraid to try these smaller RPGs like Voice of Cards. You know, you and I have played that. That was not marketed at all, really.
No.
You saw it maybe at some press event, and that was it. uh, so I'd say I play quite a few of them, but I obviously have quite a few still on the shelf to be played. For instance, Harvestella is definitely one of those.
That's on
I
mine
definitely
too.
want to play it. I think I'd really like it, and especially after playing this new latest Rune Factory, it's probably right on one and one with each other. Mostly RPG, you know, talking with your city folks, but it's all about leveling up and improving your character. Yeah, you do some farming too because you want to make money.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's it. It's not like your Stardew Valley or your old school Harvest Moons and stuff like that. So I get it. Um, yeah, I'd say I'm about 50-50. I play a lot of them, but there's plenty to be played on the shelf.
Yeah, I wish I could say that. I think I'll give a good example here. Kim Possible, What the Switch, right? That Metal Jesus always talks about, or used to always talk about, right?
Yeah.
It's a hidden gem because it's a licensed game, right? And it's actually halfway decent. I honestly never liked the show. So for me, it's kind of like, not so much, right? But I've also discovered that I like One Piece as a Warriors game. I like One Piece as a show. I don't have the tolerance to sit through 1,158 episodes of One Piece to get caught up. So when people come out, like, and I'll use Dragon Quest Die, they said a lot of folks complained, oh, I expected this to be not an arena fighter or like a Muso game. I expected it to explain the story. It's truncated, right? Because they want you to go watch the show. Like it's created like that. But everybody who played it and just took it at face value was like, wow, this is actually a really competent game. Is it going to light the world on fire? No. Should you pay full price for it? No. But guess what? It's actually kind of fun. I played it and I didn't like it personally. I preferred Dragon Quest Heroes instead, with the original story and playing with like Yangus and everybody else. I thought that was way more fun. But that's the other part too. Do you think spin-offs can technically be considered like a diamond in the rough in that instance?
I think they could. Um, a lot of people won't bother with it because no, it's not a mainline entry. I'm not going to bother with it. You know, there's too many other games to play, so they skip it. Um, so yeah, I'd consider that kind of almost hidden gem category because I think if you actually end up playing it, you're gonna like it. You're gonna at least enjoy your time with it. So I would classify more that as a hidden gem over a cult classic because I think cult classic you have a birth of people who just don't like the game at all,
Mm-hmm.
and then some who do.
So, I mean, and the reason why I'm harping on this so much is because I feel like, going back to my original argument, a lot of people hear the word hidden gem and they roll their eyes, as opposed to
Mm,
actually seeing, is this something that is actually worth my time, my energy, or even worth playing, right?
yeah,
Especially when it comes from one particular individual, as opposed to a game hunting scenario where, like, and I'll use one of the pickups you got at the first Midwest Gaming Classic, where I picked up Zen the Intergalactic Ninja on the Game Boy and went, dude, you're into Game Boy. This game is actually pretty damn good, and it's not nowhere near as expensive as the NES version. Look up some gameplay, see what you think. And you bought it.
Yeah.
And then you haven't played it yet, though, right? Or you just played just a little bit of it for the short.
Yeah, I played a little bit for the short. Well, sometimes with those shorts, I'll pop it in. And what you don't know is I actually sat there and played it for probably 20, 30 minutes.
Well, that's why I
uh,
asked. Because, I mean,
yeah, so I did play a fair amount of that. That was kind of a fun little platformer. I enjoyed my time with it.
and
So,
it's based on a comic.
yes, it's like a Japanese comic, right?
No, it's
What I
from Image
understand.
Comics, like, 90s,
Oh,
save the planet, one of those things.
oh, that's right. It's very Captain Planet-y. Like
Yeah.
he wanted, yeah,
And it's like a lot of, like, you look at the box art, you go, oh, this doesn't look that good. Unless you know the character, you're like, oh, this doesn't look that great. And then you play and you're like,
yeah.
okay, this is kind of
This is
cool.
pretty good.
This
This
is
is
pretty
fun.
good. Another one I really like. Do you remember Widget the World Watcher?
The little purple guy.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
You ever play the Super Nintendo game?
No, didn't he have one on the NES
He
though?
did.
I think I played that one before.
After we're done here, I want you to look up gameplay for Super Widget. I rented that
Super
game
Widget.
3 times.
Ooh.
It is not a hidden gem. It is a cult classic because that show was a cult classic.
Yes.
If you ask me, because that shit was canceled after like 3 episodes. But it was too
Mm-hmm.
late. Same thing with the Pirates of Darkwater. It was too late. That game is
Yes.
also really good too. But you see, like,
Pirates of Darkwater was good.
but that's what I'm talking about. It's like it kind of teeters between the two. But it also depends on the circles you run with, right? Because I think some people hold a greater weight, or they actually drag it down, right? Like, at this point, after watching Reggie for so many years, I know Reggie's taste, which is very close to mine. So if Reggie
Yes.
recommends something, I don't think it's a hidden gem. I think he saw it before I did. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But it's like, it's a marketing thing, the unsung hero of gaming, or some such thing, or a hidden gem or something like that. I think it's just, I think the term is used too loosely. To your point, we have to further define it.
Yes. Agreed.
It's like saying a hot dog is a sandwich. It's like, no, it's a hot dog. Although that's another debate. That's another debate. And not one I'm willing to have. As somebody who doesn't eat hot dogs. But do you think a hot dog is a sandwich?
Yes and no. By definition, yes. But do I think it's fits in a sandwich category? No. It's its own category.
So you've never had an opportunity to have a hot dog where you were out of buns and you had to roll it in Wonder Bread.
Oh, absolutely.
So
As
is
a
that
kid,
is
that
that a
happened.
sandwich?
No, it's a hot dog.
See, this is why I kind of like this topic, because you can kind of go in circles, which, from an argument perspective is not what you want, but I feel like this term has been used as a positive, a negative, a typecasting, a tag, like all these things. But the definition is actually never changed. It's just how it's perceived is changed, right? So, I would even say a more modern example before we get into the game du jour. Square Enix did a full motion video detective game. I forgot the name of it. The something case story. Phenomenal game. Fully acted. It's in Japanese only. It's import only. It's really freaking good. I know nobody who played it but me. And
nope, I haven't played it.
I purely imported it because it said mystery novel film. And I was like, ooh, I like those. And it's long. It's like 4 hours long. It's a full length feature film. And
Really?
complete with green screen special effects, like campy, like Doctor Who-ish on television style. You could tell they're in front of a green screen, but not really.
So this is like more like visual, like FMVs
Yeah,
era.
straight FMV, and then there's like a little puzzle solving mystery thing in the middle, and you
Was this
just
on
sit.
Sega CD?
No, it's on the PS5 and the Switch.
What?
Yeah, I'm serious. I really liked it. I played it every
Huh.
morning. It's like, and it has like chapter ends, so you can stop. It's great.
I like that idea.
Just don't play it as a game. Play it as I'm watching a movie that sometimes
Okay.
tells me to hit a button.
Okay.
But it's not like obnoxious with QuickTime events and all that stuff. But I think that's like a hidden gem because nobody played it,
Right.
obviously. And I would love to see a sequel, but obviously Square spent a lot of money on this because it's legit, like excellent camera work. Like they hired a legit movie studio to do this.
Huh. I'm gonna have to give this a roll.
Yeah, I forgot the full. It's like the Tsukihime case. No, Tsukihime is a visual novel. It's like I'll look it up at later. I'll send you a link to it. But I really
Okay.
liked it. Especially if it's like one of those things where it's like I want to play a visual novel, but I want to read. It's subtitled only, but you have enough action going on where it keeps you engaged.
Okay. Okay.
All right, but getting on to the game du jour, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we played Infinite Undiscovery. And originally, the theme behind this episode I had in my head was we can still discover infinite games at gaming conventions, but as we both played through this game at different paces, we both
Yes.
came to realize that sometimes what we see is not necessarily what we get, and what we hear is not necessarily what we hear is what we see in terms of gameplay either. So I'm going to
Right.
open it up to you. Infinite Undiscovery, first 5 minutes. What did you think of it?
I was like, oh boy, is this like a new studio part of Game Arts? Oh no, not Game Arts. It's what was the studio?
Tri-Ace.
Tri-Ace. Thank you. I was like, is this new people working at Tri-Ace? I was not convinced. I was like, it looks decent. Presentation was all right. But I was like, oh God, this voice acting, it is not good. Maybe one person was decent, and some of them had varying levels of skill going into their voice acting. The battle system, you're like, uh, this needs some help. It was not good. First 5 minutes, you're like, you're like I don't know if I'm gonna get into this, but let's keep slugging. Let's see what Tri-Ice has up their sleeve.
Yeah, so in my case, this was a pickup at the first year at the Midwest Gaming Classic for me. It's a game I wanted because, truthfully, Tri-Ace is a favorite studio of mine. I've always loved their battle systems. Infinite Undiscovery, I had bought back when I got my Xbox 360 way back in the day, and I traded it away. I don't know why. I think I was holding out to see if they did a remaster on PS4 like they were doing with everything else, like Star Ocean Last Hope and everything. They never did.
Yeah.
But what I found really funny is this is when you picked up, I think it was Eternal Blue,
Oh
and
yeah.
and the idea that we both had was if we bundle it together, he'll give us a discount. And instead, he
Uh
goes,
huh.
"Yeah, Infinite Undiscovery is free."
Yeah, take that garbage off my hands.
And yeah, the first 5-10 minutes, I was like, "Oh man, this is hot garbage." Star Ocean's already on a budget, and I didn't think
Yeah.
it could go any lower, but they figured it out. This budget is even lower than that. I'm surprised they could even afford to put it on a disc, let alone make a game. And this is like literally within the first 5 minutes. And I went back and I was like, I usually don't watch a YouTube review when I'm playing something because I don't want it to influence my thought process. But I was
Yeah,
like, for
respect.
this, if I'm gonna be the first one, if this is gonna be the first game where I throw up a white flag, I'd rather do it now and save you the time. So I watched a bunch of reviews, and everybody's just ragging on it, ragging on it. Square Enix doesn't know what they're doing. It was new technology, this, that, and the third, right? And then one review said, inherently, there is nothing good about this game at all. However, if you can stick through it in all its clunkiness, in all of its stiffness, there is a treat at the end of the rainbow. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like I called bullshit. And then maybe 2 or 3 or 4 hours in, I messaged you. And I was like, dude, you're in for a ride. And what was it? You even said to me, oh, it's not good.
Yeah. I said, well, so far it's not good.
Yeah.
I'd only played like maybe 2 hours.
But then once you hit that point in the story, you're like, oh, now I get it. Now I'm invested. Now I'm all
Mm-hmm.
about this. And I think that's where the whole, YouTube hidden gem community, diamond in the rough, blah, 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 blah bullshit comes into play.
Yeah.
Because, and I hate to say it, some games, I'll be honest, they take 4 or 5 hours to get good.
It happens. It's not uncommon.
So, do you think, and I consider this game to be a hidden gem, truthfully, or a cult classic, rather. I consider this to be a cult classic. I'm just going to come right out and say it at this point. But do you think that's an argument you could make for a game that is typically like poo-pooed on? Like, you got to stick with it for 5 hours so it gets good, or you have to put the time into it?
Yes, I think so. Cult classic, and I know a lot of people are saying who won't play it if you tell them, dude, I know the first game or the first half of the game is a bit of a slog, but that last half of that game is going to reward you. People will be like, nah, I'm out. They don't want to deal with the shit. They want just good from the start to beginning. So I'm with you. Cult classic all the way with Infinite Undiscovery.
So, and you kind of alluded to it. By the time you hit the halfway point in this game, I was like, dude, what in the hell is happening? Like, mind you,
Yes.
every boss fight is the same. I'm just hitting X. I'm hitting
Yep.
up. The most difficult fight was the one with the giant squid thing where you had to hide behind the rocks.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
I'm just saying it now in case anybody does decide to slog up until that point. Just hide behind the rocks and let your buddies do everything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like don't even
Just
bother.
sit back there and you can heal them with your items. You're
Yeah,
good.
and just run out to hit him in the face when it glows. Like, that's all you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
But gameplay, and I say gameplay for a game, is why I would imagine a lot of people crap on this game to start because the gameplay just is not good.
No, it's its weakest point.
And it's tries, which to me makes no sense.
No. That's why I was like, is this a stepping stone to the last hope?
Which a lot of people also didn't like, and that's one of my favorite Star Ocean games.
I love the last hope.
You have to play it in Japanese though. You can't. I can't deal with the little wizard girl's voice in English. It's too much.
It is a lot.
But Bacchus in Japanese, man, he sounds oof. Although I think its Edge is voiced by Matt Mercer, which
Yep.
usually I listen to him, but in this case I couldn't take her because she was in my party.
Well, yeah, and the problem is the common problem with Last Hope is people are like, Edge is a whiny bitch.
He does whine a lot, but a spoiler, he eventually has a revelation.
Yes, it's called character growth, people.
But here's the kicker: how many hours did it take for that to happen?
It was a while.
How long did it take Capel to hit his
Oh my
stride?
god. He was infuriating for, I'd say, 2/3 of the game. I
right?
think it really started shining. It was the last third to the last quarter of the game when you're like, all right, Capella, I'm getting you now. I'm finally getting you. You were a hard nut to crack, though.
It's like that kid in class, like the one that you always see in the movies where the teacher's like, he's gonna pass, and it's like beating their
Yeah.
head against the wall, and eventually he's just like, he steps up, right?
Yeah.
But up until then, he's like, oh, I just want to take a nap. Meanwhile, the building's on fire, and I'm like
What
you're
do you
such.
guys think about running away? I think that's a good option.
Oh well, if they're gonna chase us, maybe we should just hide. And it's like, we're freedom fighters. It's like, yeah, well, I'm free to run away, right? Or what was it? There's like one part where they're like coming up with a plan. He's just casually walking off. This is the main character. He's just casually walking away.
He was like, nah, I'm out. This sucks. I'm out. And it leads us to probably one of the better characters, which was Aya,
Yeah.
and how she was just slapping him around. No, Capel, we're going. Stop being an idiot, Capel.
That was honestly, I mean, they actually had a really good voice cast. The dude who does the green haired guy, who I forget the name of,
Yeah,
he's on Critical Role. It's Jaffe. He
yeah,
When I heard his voice, I was like, oh wow, they got like the old school like voice talent for this. But you
yeah,
could tell there was so much of a budget. They were probably just like, read this, you
yeah.
know?
It was quick reads because that's why sometimes you got good line delivery from some of these people, but it was inconsistent. So it tells you you can read this twice at most. That's all we're paying for.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of felt like.
And it almost felt like this was a contractual obligation. And I mean, honestly, Trius never has money, but they were like, just pump it out, like, just get through it. I guarantee you, they like coming off Second Story, even Second Story R, and then playing this battle system where everybody kind of moves like this, right? Like, there's
Hmm.
no 360-degree. You move at 45-degree angles, and that's it. I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened? And the camera is permanently zoomed in, and then when you need to turn, it says no, you don't.
Yep. It was like only 8 ways of direction for your superior analog controls.
And that's where I think, and this goes back to like game reviews and all this other stuff in general. I don't know how many people played through this game completely, but usually when you see like the worst games on the 360, Infinite Undiscovery's on it
Yeah.
because of that first 2/3 of the game up until the end of disc 1. It's just not good at all.
No, it's not. It's a slog. There were some things I thought were unique and fun. I liked when you went into the menu system, the character sat down. I thought that was a cool touch.
I
I was
hate
like, that's cool.
I hated the fact that you had to go through all those menus to use a healing item mid battle, and you would die mid battle because you had to do that.
The fact that the game did not pause while you were in a menu was infuriating. I would get to the point where I got used to, all right, I need to start healing people because somebody's down, my healer's down. I'm gonna run to the farthest possible spot from the boss, so I could quickly try to bring up some the menu so I could start healing people and reviving people. It was pretty maddening.
And that's what was it? There was like the whole bond system where you could bond with party members to help you out. I'm like, dude, they don't do shit. Like,
No, it didn't make it worth your while to increase the bonds. I didn't see enough to care, to be honest with you.
but the other part of it too is, and I kept reminding myself, this was at that point where it's like, okay, we came off the PS2, we're now in the new generation. Everybody's still
Hmm.
making PS2 and Xbox and GameCube games for a modern console, not
Hmm.
knowing, hey, guess what? We can do 360 degrees of movement, even though they have been doing 360 degrees of movement for
Yep.
generations now. It's kind of like, oh, it's a new generation. That gives us an excuse to fuck it up. And I couldn't help but think, if this was 2005, 2006, when I played this, I still think I would have been disappointed. What
Yeah,
about you?
I think I probably would have shelved it back in the day.
So what made you stick with it this time? Besides the fact that
Um,
I finished.
some of the characters' backstories interested me. I wanted to know more about Aya. I wanted to like, why is she doing this? Where's she come from? What's all this about? I was like, I'm waiting for something to be dropped about Capel. We don't know everything about him. There's freaking skeletons in the closet or something. Something I don't know about Capel. So what kept me going through this was I was like, I need to know more about these characters.
Because for me, like honestly, and you already know about this, my first disc, or disc 2 rather, was corrupted. My 360 cannot read it at all. It would boot it up,
Oh,
it
yeah.
would freeze, it would lock, and they would shut down. I bought a second disc, and I had that same exact problem. So
Wow.
my laser is definitely going. But the fact
Mm,
of the matter is, there's a lot of cutscenes in this game. Thank God you can skip them.
yes.
So I would watch the cutscene, hope I didn't freeze, look for a save point immediately, save, and then I would freeze. But if I froze in the middle of the cutscene and I already watched it, at least I could skip it.
Right.
So my playtime for this game was a lot of stop and go and taking stuff out and, cleaning a disc and shuffling it around, because unfortunately, because I couldn't get a cloud save off my 360, I couldn't buy the digital version on the Series S, which is what I should have done in the first place. Because otherwise I would have just continued on that and I would have been hunky dory. But for me to be willing to do that, that story has to have so many cliffhangers that I'm like, I gotta see this through.
Yes,
I gotta
exactly.
I gotta figure this out. And I would even say it's kind of like the Lightning series, right? Final Fantasy 13.
Hmm.
That game got shit on so much, and trust me, there's a lot wrong with it.
Yeah, there is.
But if you put in that time commitment, much like this game, to read this dictionary they give you and, just understand what is going on with, the background and the story and, the focus and all that stuff, it's an excellent world. It's
It
like, it's
is.
really fascinating. And the ending, the final fight is epic. The battle system is actually really deep, but you have to put in the time commitment to it. And I would even say Final Fantasy 13, it's a mainline Final Fantasy. I think it's a cult classic because of the fact that nobody likes it, or a majority of people don't like it. This game I consider to be a cult classic and not a hidden gem. If I were to come, you and I were to come on here and say this is a hidden gem, I already earlier said it is, but I'm redacting that. This is a cult classic. I would not recommend this game to everybody. I would recommend this to somebody who likes a good anime storyline with a twist.
Yes, absolutely. They need to be the patient type who want to experience a story, and not everybody will fit that category. I know plenty of people who will not have the patience because they need to have something to keep them embedded in the story and not just the story itself. They like, I need killer gameplay, or I need freaking awesome characters from the beginning, to keep me interested. This one is not that.
Yeah, and even one of my personal favorite games, Utawar Romano. You know, every person I know who's played it, I literally say right out of the gate, you have to suffer through the first 13 hours. Because the first 13 hours, and I say suffer because you're expecting a lot of intrigue and everything else, it's
Hmm.
world building. Because the main character literally wakes up. It's not Isekai technically, but he wakes up in a new world. None of this makes any sense. He's from modern day Japan, US, what have you. He's
Mm-hmm.
transported to this backwoods fantasy town, and he doesn't know about the customs. Everything is anthropomorphic, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like basically him just living his life, as a, to quote Vampire Hunter D, as a transient guest, you know, because he doesn't
Yes.
know if he'll ever be able to go home. And then a bunch of stuff happens. And then, much like Capel, he has to step up. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
full steam ahead for another 90 hours, literally. Like on the edge of your seat. It's such
I
a
love
great
that.
series, but again, you have to put the time into it, which a lot of people won't do.
No, they won't. They won't wait for it. Like one of the driving forces for me to really enjoy a good RPG is good character development. And if I sense that these characters are going to evolve or I'm going to learn more about them or they're going to do something, they got to change their ways or something like Capel, obviously. You first meet Capel, you're like, shit, this guy's got to grow sometime in this game.
So,
So, yeah, absolutely.
so did you find the battle system hard, or do you think it was more just age that made it difficult?
I think it's more of age. And it came to the
Yeah.
point where it was just a lot of button mashing. Specific moves, I used like three of them,
Yeah, same
and that's
here.
how I'd get through the game. You're like, you learned a new move. Nah, I'm good.
But you see, here's something else I want to ask you. So a game like Lunar, which is much older than this, obviously just got the remaster, which I would like to think you and I willed into existence somehow. Um,
Yes.
but everybody I know who has played it for the first time recently is like, OMG, where was I in the early 90s? Where was I in the late 90s, early 2000s? Thank
Mm-hmm.
God I was finally able to play this. How is a game that old still feel new? Because there's a bunch of games that Final Fantasy V to me feels like it may as well have come out tomorrow or yesterday
Yeah.
rather.
Yeah. That's easy. I think it's like you got to look at it like classic books. A well written story will always be good. So, in instance for Lunar, that has a very good story. Very well thought out, well paced, good characters, everything about that. So the gameplay, even though it could be for some could be pretty mediocre, it's fine. The gameplay is fine. The battle system was okay. I got through it. It wasn't bad, so it was good. Enough for me. It was the story that people love about Lunar. I don't think it's necessarily the gameplay.
So, what would you say about Grandia? Because I think those games are except for the third one. I think those games are timeless.
I think they are too. And with Grandia 1 and 2, fantastic stories with good gameplay. Unfortunately for Grandia 3, you still get the gameplay, great battle system, but that story is not up to par.
Not even Johnny Young Bosch can save it.
Nope.
So with Infinite Undiscovery, you have a slow burn story, and I would say cruddy gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the point I'm really trying to drive home here. I mean, we already said it. This is not something you recommend to everybody, but I feel like I can't even tell people to give it a chance because the negatives, truthfully, they outweigh the good. But the good is like, getting to the bottom. I'll give you an analogy. As a kid, right? I always thought chocolate ice cream was the best. And if I got half chocolate, half vanilla, and I ate all the chocolate and I only had the vanilla left, I was disappointed. It was shitty ice cream. Like, not good at all, right? But if I had to eat my way through the vanilla to get to the chocolate, it was way more enjoyable, right? So in a game like this, I had to eat my way through cruddy gameplay, skipping discs, freezing, locking, lost save data to get to this ending, which was ultimately so satisfying. Only it took like over 20 hours. But I don't regret it But if it was the other way around with a subpar story and engaging gameplay, I don't think I would have gotten that same sense of, ooh, that was good at the end.
No, you wouldn't have, because you had to work to get there. It was that journey through the thick and the thin that got
Through
you to a
Capel's
point where you were
complaining.
like, yes, you got through Capel's shitty attitude, and you were
I
able to
want to
get through
go
it.
home. Meanwhile, everybody's dying around.
It was honestly a true adventure, and not for the characters of the game, but for the player themselves. They had
Yeah.
to struggle. You had to struggle to get through it, and there were parts that could keep you interested, intrigued, made you hold on. But in the end, that like last quarter of the game, you're like, damn, thank you, that
Yeah.
was worth it.
Yeah. That's exactly the feeling I had. So yeah, I definitely think this is a cult classic. Like all said and done, that's what this is. No two ways about it. And I'm
Yes,
happy the roulette picked it. At first, I was like, oh, I don't know.
I know. I was like, oh, I have that meaning to play it, but
Yeah, I think the reviews are accurate, but I also don't think everybody went through the whole thing. Which I don't
I'll
blame
tell
them.
you,
Truthfully, I don't blame them.
no. And honestly, I don't. And let me tell you, this game had me so pleasantly happy that it made me go online and buy a manual to complete my copy.
Dang.
Yep, I was like, this deserves to be
So
complete
so
in my
you spent
collection.
extra money on it too. You bought a manual and I bought a second disc too.
Yeah, I went online and $7 I had a manual.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So yeah, coming off of Wario Land, I guess I don't think this is a game of the year contender, but I think this is like a pleasant surprise.
Absolutely, I would tear this up above Wario Land for sure.
Sweet. All right. So now it's time for us to figure out what we're going to play next time. And
Yeah.
the theme we're going with this time are cards. Because obviously you like
Yes.
cards. I like
Mm-hmm.
Yu Gi Oh! And I have a bunch of card games that I haven't played yet. And I imagine you have a bunch of card games you haven't played yet.
Oh,
And I think
absolutely.
now is the best time to play them. One caveat with this though. There are a few roguelike deck builders in this list. If one does get picked, because honestly, you're also at the bay of the RNG. At any point, you're like, I've had enough. You can just say I've had enough, and we'll talk about that. Don't feel like you have to force your way through. Because I've only beat Monster Train once, and I will never beat it again. So
That's fair. That's fair because that reminds you of like Balatro. You
yeah,
could go through 30 runs and not finish.
yeah, and that is not on this list. Although it's not on this list because it's relatively new, but Monster Train 2 is excellent.
I still need to finish the first one. Damn it.
Oh no, it's so much better. They added
Oh,
so much cool stuff. Like the races now. There's one where every time you cast, like there's moon phases, so their attack and defense flips every moon phase.
ooh.
And then there's one where like when the moon phase flips, it like creates a buff or it creates a debuff, stuff like that. It's really fun.
All right. Screw the first one. I'm moving on to the second one.
I mean, it's on Game Pass if you have it. But anyway, all right. So on to this list. All right. So on this list, we have, I'm just going to read off since I don't think anybody can read this: Neon White, Baten Kaitos Origins, Lost Kingdoms, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Card Fighters Clash, SNK/Capcom. You can pick one, and I'll play the other one. Time
Okay.
to duel. I pick a random Yu-Gi-Oh game. Mega Man Battle
Okay.
Network 2, Metal Gear Acid, Potionomics, Thornbreaker, Card Shark, Loop Hero, Hand of Fate or Hand of Fate 2. I don't care. Final Fantasy Fables, Chocobo's Tales, which I did not realize was a card game. Card and
I
Seal,
had no idea either.
Voice of Cards, The Forsaken Maiden, that's the second one. Fights in Tight Places, One Step from Eden. SteamWorld Quest, The Hand of Gilgamesh. Deep Sky
Hmm.
Derelicts, Pokemon collectible card game on the Game Boy or Game Boy Color, Dragon Ball collectible card game on the GBA, Dragon Ball Legendary Super Warriors on the GBC, or Dragon Ball Hakaroga or whatever the hell it is Densetsu on the Nintendo DS. Are there any others you want to add to this?
No, I don't, because there's plenty on here that I really want to play, and this would be an excuse to play it right now.
All right, here we go. Same rule as always, 3 spins. First spin. Dragon Ball Hakuraka Detsu has been removed.
Okay, fair.
Dang, I was really hoping for that one. Give me an excuse to spend money.
I know.
Oh, One Step from Eden is removed.
All right.
All right. Which one do you want to win out of what's left?
I kind of want to do Card and Seal.
All right. I kind of want to do Neon White, but let's see.
Oh, we're going.
Oh, yes!
Oh!
It's time to duel. All right.
Oh, no. I was all like, all right, we're going to play a Neo Geo Pocket game.
No.
No, we're going to play a Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Oh, yes, we are. I could not have planned that better. Okay, so we get to play a Yu-Gi-Oh game. This is awesome. I could not have planned that better, truthfully. So I have
a question, though.
What?
Is there a Yu-Gi-Oh game you haven't played?
Yeah, there's a ton.
Okay, I'm just be fair.
So to make it easier, I propose that we play something from the collection on the Switch.
All right. Gives me an excuse to pick that up. It's been on my list for a while.
And as an added bonus, I believe it is World Tournament 2004 has online play.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
And on the, because I already checked this, you can unlock all the cards and make a deck ahead of time.
Really?
I don't know if it works for online play. However, if I can figure out how to jerry-rig this thing, I think we should record ourselves having a duel.
Ooh.
By the end.
You're probably going to smash me. So, for those that don't know, I do play a lot of TCGs. I collect a lot of TCGs. So I play a lot of them. There's one game that I have never played, and that's Yu-Gi-Oh! So this is going to be an introduction to me.
Yeah, I believe it's World Championship Tournament 2005.
Okay, and this is the early days collection, correct?
Correct. And you want to keep the 2 Harpies feather dusters that come with it.
Oh. Oh, yeah, look at that. Comes with some cards. Sweet. I'm going to grade them.
Slab it. Oh, man, this is exciting. This is going to be fun. Can't wait. Finally show you the joys of the Dark Magician.
Ooh.
And I know, and I already know when Steve-O listens to this, he's going to say, I hope Alex narrates it like Joey from the Yu-Gi-Oh show.
Oh. Man.
Did you watch the show?
I watched a little bit of it, but I had no idea what was going on. And I was like, I play Magic. I don't know what Yu-Gi-Oh is, but I like
all the rules
anime.
are made up. The show and the game do not mesh.
Then maybe I'll watch some Yu-Gi-Oh anime as well.
Do it. Just up to Battle City. After that, you can drop off.
Okay.
Once the Pharaoh goes bye, you don't have to watch anymore. Although Zexal is okay, but the classic series there's tons of mistakes in the first season too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like voice line mistakes. Like Monster Reborn is a legitimate card. At one point, he says "Reborn the monster." Stuff like that. It's so campy. It's so cheesy. But anyway, this has been going on long enough. It is hot as hell in here. I have no AC. I gotta turn it on. My friend, 3 things you love about this hobby besides playing games.
Collecting. I like to collect. It's in my nature. I collect a lot of things, but video games also is something I can play. Uh, Number two, um, the community that it brings,
You've already
especially
said
with
that
all the
one. You can't
YouTube.
use it again.
Ah, damn it! Now I got to come up with something else.
Yeah, for you
Th-
future repeat people, I do my homework. I look up what you said the last time, so don't try to pull this shit with me.
I like it. I like it. Okay, here, the artwork. Video games have incredible artwork from the old days to now. Love fantastic artwork. I know I can't say soundtracks because I used that one once, I think.
You did.
So, number three will have to be. mm, let's go with statues.
I don't think that's something to like. I think that's an investment.
It is an investment, but you can enjoy the said statues. But yeah, that's just for lack of better things that I can't think of.
See, I stumped you. And you gotta come with
Yes,
another
you
three
did.
for next time. But
Oh, that's gonna be trouble.
all right. Where can they find you besides the YouTube? Anything new or different, or just same old, same old?
Same old, same old. My slacker ass will still release some things on YouTube here and there. You can enjoy shorts because those are easy. I've been slacking on cracking packs. I need to get back to that. Other than that, that's all I am at. Just YouTube.
You could be cracking some Yu-Gi-Oh packs.
I could do that in honor for this
You should crack a
new game
pack
we're
on
gonna
the.
play.
You should crack a pack on the episode.
I should, since we're gonna be playing a match. I'll crack a pack on the episode.
Awesome. All right. He's been EmperorFoxx. I've been Alex. You've been watching Video Games Gaiden. We'll catch you next time when we play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Which one?
World Championship 2005. Take care.